So I'm making some progress in sussing out the BSA. So the wiring isn't too much of a mess. So slowly stripping stuff down, just tipped it on its side to get the stump plate off. This sour has come out, but not a lot. I don't quite understand the oil arrangement because it seems different to the manual that I've got. There's the outlet here, which I think there's a strainer inside here, I believe. I'll take that off shortly. So this comes round to a T-piece, which feeds across to the innermost oil inlet to the pump. Then there's the scavenge pump side, which comes out and back up somewhere. So looking at the inlet, this say comes from the strainer to the T-piece. This one here comes all the way around and up to what is shown on my manual as a drain, but it's obviously also being used to draw oil into the oil pump, which makes sense because this oil is going to collect here otherwise. I did wonder about that. I think it must be an error on my Haynes workshop manual. I've got a proper one on order, but yeah, so I guess that makes sense. So it sucks oil in through the strainer primarily, but also from the back of that end of the tube as well. On the scavenge side, it pumps it through the smaller tube back to the rockers, which again is what you'd expect. And the other main scavenge outlet comes back up to the top of the oil tank, and I should be able to see that, I think, inside, to see it squirting oil back in to confirm that it's pumping correctly. And then of course there's the vent over here, which actually comes back down and into the same breather tube from the primary chain case. So yeah, that does make sense, I guess. So what I need to do probably is certainly to take off this strainer, get the oil out of the frame. So yeah, meanwhile, a couple of other jobs. I painted the exhaust, I took that off. It was horribly rusty, if you remember the last video. I've just painted that with heat-resistant paint. The process of sticking it back on. I'll put the springs back on shortly. I've actually just kicked it over, and there is a spark, which is reassuring. I say that there's no battery, obviously, so it's just straight off the alternator into the rectifier, bridged across this capacitor, and through the coil to the points, or vice versa. So yeah, pretty straightforward. I haven't quite worked out how the lighting system works yet, but that must come off here, I guess. This comes up here somewhere. Must feed into the headlight. Yeah, so some work to do on the wiring, but so it does actually seem to be sparking. So if I can just sort out the oil and get the fuel tank back on, clean the carburetor out perhaps, I should be able to see whether it will start. Okay, 5/16 Whitworth, normal sort of pipe fitting size. Geez, that's high, that's different. There we go. Oh, the whole lot's coming, as you might expect. So it's going to twist the tube. Just get a screwdriver. It's a shame that you can't apparently get the oil out without undoing loads of hoses as well. Good BSA design. There we go. Spinning inside the hose now. Ah. If I just get the whole hose off, might be easier. There we go. Yeah. Cool. A bit of oil in there, not too much. So where's that coming from? That should drain from the back of the tank as well, shouldn't it? Okay, that's good. See what this strainer's like. Indeed, it is a strainer, as I think it probably is. When I had my C15, I remember taking the strainer out, and there was a rag. Someone had dropped a rag in the oil tank, which meant that the strainer was all wrapped up in a rag. So of course it distorted the filter, the strainer rather. So it was all kind of minced up and damaged. But no such situation here, so that's good. There isn't a lot of oil in there, is there? It's obviously not. There's no oil resting on top of it. Let's lift the bike up and see what comes out of here, out of the back of the tank. Oh, bit of oil out of the front. A bit more out of the sump. As far as there's nothing coming out of here, it implies there's nothing. So nothing else coming out of here implies there's nothing left in the tank up here. So that's kind of worrying, really. I thought there was more oil in the frame than there clearly is. So where has it gone is the question, if indeed the bike was just parked up and abandoned kind of thing, while still in running condition, then why is there no oil left in it? Can't have all drained out in 10 years, can it? I can't see why anybody would drain it out on purpose. So where's it all gone? The sump gauze looks okay. There's lots of red RTV on it, and so that gauze looks okay. Very slight dent in it, but nothing too serious. On my last A65, I had a aftermarket one of these with the drain plug in the side and a magnetic catcher on it. I might see if I can find a similar one for this. Just makes it easier to drain the sump rather than having to remake the gasket every time. While I'm down here, I might as well just whip the carb off and see what state that's in. Okay, I'll just get a crosshead screwdriver to take the cap off. Running easily, hasn't sort of seized up, and it seems to be quite a good fit. I've had ones in the past where they were so sloppy in the bore that so you get air leaking around the slide. But this seems okay. I assume that's just a blanking plug on the top because there is no air slide on this bike. Yeah, it's not too bad. Apart from the fact the needle's missing. Our needle's in here. I wonder if it's snapped off actually. Oh no, it's okay I think. Just got no the clip is in there. So yeah, looks like the needle has dropped out. Yeah, sure enough. In fact, it's kind of wedged in and corroded. So good job I took it out. There you go. Again, not too bad. A bit of white, powdery oxide on it, but I'll clean up. The clip is still in here. See if I can get that off. Usual fight with these. I think I can get the clip out like so. So there's the clip. The nipple on the end of the cable has kind of corroded itself in there. It will come out quite easily, I think, but just not by pushing it I'll sort that out later. The clip's not broken or anything. So the carb doesn't look too bad, just sort of externally. Bit of gunge around the gasket line. I'll take that off and blow through the jets. Good. I've taken the back light off as well, and the remains of a license plate holder, which is actually leather, which is quite fun. I guess in Colorado perhaps that's the material to use. But I've got another smaller light on order with a plate bracket on it as well, so I'll use that one next time. Yeah, I might just take off the breather pipe and filter before I stop today and give that a go. It's very tight. It's tight in the mudguard, I think. Undersized hole in the plastic mudguard, and this has just threaded itself into it. There we go. So this breather pipe has been glued in with silicone by the looks of it. So presumably that's come detached somehow. Just pull off this oil breather. Cool. So yeah, there's some kind of, it looks like foam. It's got a foam filter in that end. So that's quite simple but effective, I guess. I just noticed here that the clutch cable comes in this side to the operating lever, but there's also another kind of ferrule pipe thing there. What that is? That's some kind of breather into the timing side. Interesting. I'll have to look that up again. See if I can find it in the manual that I've now got on order. If there's any oil in the gearbox as well. Is there a level plug, or is this just a... There is a level dipstick. Yeah. Too much oil, if anything. Good. So I guess it's good that there's oil in somewhere, even if it's not in the engine. Right, I think that'll do for today. Thanks for watching.